While Darby was fighting her drug addiction in rehab, she got a surprise call from a guy named Joe. He informed her that her mother had suffered a serious brain bleed and was rushed to Salt Lake Hospital. Overwhelmed with shock and worry, Joe urged Darby to call her sister, Devin, for more information. But when Darby tried to make the call, a staff member stopped her, telling her that rehab rules didn't allow outgoing calls. Despite her desperate begging, the director refused to change the rules. That night, determined to get through, Darby knocked on the door of Jade, a fellow patient, asking to take her illegal phone. Jade initially refused, so Darby threatened to report her. Reluctantly, Jade gave over the phone. Darby quickly dialed her sister, asking for bail money to visit their mother. Devin curtly refused, saying she was too busy at the hospital and had no time for Darby's drama, then hung up quickly. Feeling hurt but determined, Darby chose to break out of rehab. Sneaking out in the middle of the night, she found an open car with a packet of cocaine inside. Fighting the desire to use it, she hid the drugs, hotwired the car with a hammer and screwdriver, and drove off. On her way, she left a message for Devin, promising to reach the hospital by morning. However, a fierce blizzard soon made driving hazardous. Forced to pull over, she checked her texts and found one from Devin, telling her not to come because their mother didn't want to see her. Heartbroken, Darby fought the urge to use the cocaine and fell asleep in the car, haunted by painful memories. A police officer woke her later, telling her that the road was closed due to heavy snow. He told her to either turn back or wait at a nearby visitor's center. Darby decided to wait at the center and followed the officer there. Inside, she found 4 people, a middle-aged couple, an odd man, and a sleepy guy. She grabbed a coffee and tried to connect her phone to the internet, but there was no connection. When she asked about Wi-Fi, Sandy, one of the people there, told her there wasn't any. Determined to find a link, Darby walked outside and heard muffled screams coming from a vehicle. Brushing the snow off the windows, she was terrified to see a young girl tied up inside. Trying to open the van's door, Darby found it locked. Realizing the minivan belonged to someone inside the tourist center, she knew she had to be careful. Returning to her car, she tried to call 911 but found no service. Suddenly, she saw a man in the side mirror, sending chills down her spine. Stepping out, she found it was Bill, also looking for a signal. Darby acted normal, not wanting to raise suspicion, and headed back inside. Back in the tourist center, Darby tried to fit in, unsure who the kidnapper might be. Bill proposed playing a card game, and everyone agreed. While playing, Darby quietly asked questions to learn more about the others. She found out Bill was a former Marine, his wife Sandy was a nurse, and the other 2 guys were called Ash and Lars. Through discussion, Darby became suspicious of Lars. Excusing herself, she headed to the bathroom to try calling 911 again, but still, there was no signal. Darby tries to send a message, but it fails. With no other choices, she chooses to help the girl herself. She grabs a utility knife from the bathroom and goes back to the van. Using the knife, she gets to open the door and starts untying the girl's hands. Finding the girl has a high fever. Suddenly, Darby hears Lars approaching and quickly hides inside the van. Lars arrives, obviously upset about losing the card game. He tells the girl she's lucky to be there because the outside world is full of lies and cheats. He sees the cardboard covering the rear window has been knocked over and scolds the girl before fixing it. Darby considers striking him with the knife, but sees he has a gun, which frightens her. Lars remembers he forgot to bring snacks for the girl and goes back inside to get them. Darby tells the girl she'll come back to help before getting out of the van, but leaves the knife behind. When Lars returns with the snacks, he gets suspicious upon seeing footsteps going away from the van and the unlocked door. Meanwhile, Darby quietly returns to the bathroom. When Ash checks on her, worried she's been in there too long, Darby pulls him inside. She tries to tell him about Lars, but suddenly, Lars enters, and Darby pulls Ash into a kiss to avoid raising suspicion. After Lars leaves, Darby tells Ash everything, stressing the importance of saving the sick girl. Ash is furious and comes up with a plan. Darby will go to the van to help the girl, and when Lars follows her, Ash will sneak up behind and attack Lars with a nail gun found in the storage. Darby agrees and puts the plan into motion. She enters the car and begins to untie the girl's hands, only to be questioned, "Where are the men?" The girl admits to having 2 boys when Darby, shocked, asks how many there are. When Darby looks out the window, she's taken aback by what she sees. Together, Ash and Lars are running toward the vehicle with the goal of hurting her. But Darby is nowhere to be seen when they go closer to the vehicle. Meanwhile, Bill starts to become suspicious, since everyone seems to be coming and departing all the time. Nevertheless, Ash finds Darby and threatens her with a pistol. After stealing Darby's phone and erasing all of her 911 texts, he looks through her private chats and learns about her mother's sickness. Ash is accused of molesting children by Darby, but he fiercely disputes this and claims it's all about the money. He says that when the girl is ransomed to her father, they would bring her back to her house. Darby notes that the kid is ill and requires medical treatment, but Ash asserts that the girl has Addison's condition, which means that too much excitement might result in an adrenaline overdose, making Darby's intervention risky. At that moment, Sandy shows there, and Ash informs Darby that he would murder everyone before he can get away if she tells anybody. When Sandy notices something is strange, she gives Darby the opportunity to confide in her, but he doesn't say anything. Later, as everyone is seated around the table once again, Darby subtly informs Bill that Ash and Lars are armed and dangerous. Darby realizes in a flash that the girl is free. Lars sees her too, and he swiftly makes up a reason to leave Ash alone. Ash trails after Darby as they go to the restroom. Ash is attacked by Darby, but he overcomes her and starts to strangle her. When Lars gets there, he tells Ash that Darby has to find the girl since she ran out into the hiking trails. Darby discreetly snatches Ash's vehicle key after seeing it has dropped during the scuffle. Darby then shouts out to the girl as Ash and Lars drag him onto the hiking route at gunpoint. Darby infers from their chat that their goal is to sell the girl, not hold her hostage. Darby abruptly realizes this.
Darby escapes by hiding behind a tree as Ash attempts to shoot but misses. When Bill hears a gunshot and rushes outside to look into it, he finds the girl unconscious in front of the tourist center. He brings her inside. Not long later, panting, Darby bursts in and tells Bill and Sandy the truth about Ash and Lars. From outside, Ash and Lars shout for the girl, threatening to shoot everyone inside. Bill doesn't have a gun, so he swiftly covers the windows with drapes and tells them he'll shoot if they come inside. Ash and Lars pause about this. But as Jay's health deteriorates, it becomes evident that only the 2 guys are taking the required medicine. They suggest exchanging the girl for the medication. Since the girl would die without it, Sandy advises Bill to accept. While admitting that she has the van key, Darby accepts. Bill responds, "I'll return their van key so they can leave safely if Ash and Lars give the medicine." Ash discovers the key is missing as he hurriedly searches his pockets. The 2 guys, filled with rage, take out a gas can from their vehicle and prepare to set the home on fire. Fearing for her life, Sandy begs Bill to grant their wishes, but he reassures her that nobody will perish. He tells Ash and Lars that they are stupid for trying to trap themselves at the murder site, and he urges Darby to conceal the keys. Bill clarifies that he risked his life for a stranger during his Marine career, in response to Ash's accusation that he is the idiot. Sandy, who used to be Jay's housemaid, is suddenly there when she wakes up. Rich Jay used to have Sandy dance for him and then upload the embarrassing video online. Bill is shocked to learn that Sandy doesn't have a gun when she tells the guys. As Ash and Lars walk in, it becomes clear that Sandy had planned to abduct Jay in exchange for cash. Bill is still coming to terms with his wife's treachery when they are holding him and Darby at gunpoint. Tearfully, Sandy confesses that she thought they would kidnap the child for money, so she did it for their future. Darby discloses that Ash and Lars want to trade Jay rather than hold her hostage. Startled, Sandy attempts to persuade Ash that there's no need to sell her since Jay's father would pay whatever. Ignoring her, Ash insists that Darby give him the vehicle key. Bill cautions that disclosing the location of the key would put everyone in risk. Bill is fatally shot by Ash. As Lars steps in and avoids being sprayed, Sandy panics and attempts to pepper spray Ash. Ash shoots Sandy as well, furious. After using a nail gun to affix Darby's hand to the wall, he pulls Lars into the bathroom so he may have his eyes treated. Jay is asked to hand Darby a hammer. Jay hands her the hammer, but she has to hurriedly conceal it when Ash comes back before she can do anything. Ash uses a message from his sister to inform Darby that her mother has died. He also discovers a police message informing him that help is on the way. If Darby doesn't tell Ash where the key is, Ash threatens to have Jay nailed as well. Darby admits grudgingly that the key is beneath the snow outside the restroom. Ash gives Lars the rifle so he can keep an eye on the females while he looks for the key. Assuring Jay that Lars won't shoot, Darby advises him to turn off the lights in a stealthy manner. Jay approaches the switches gently, even in spite of Lars's yells. Darby takes advantage of this opportunity to take some painkillers. Jay switches out the lights, so Darby takes the nail out of her hand and uses the hammer to ambush Lars. Ash races back after hearing a gunshot and finds Darby threatening Lars with a pistol. He aims his nail gun at Darby and demands that she release Lars. Lars is blasted in the head by the nail gun after Jay strikes Ash's hand with the hammer. Ash runs to Lars as Darby and Jay take advantage of the confusion to flee. Ash tells Lars he'll bring him to the doctor, but as Lars stumbles and the nail goes further into his head, he is killed. In a fit of vengeance, Ash goes outside and opens fire on Darby's vehicle, causing a puncture and an accident. After lighting the home on fire, he returns to murder Darby. At that moment, Ash is told to keep away from the automobile by the police who have arrived. Ash puts on a brave front, but Darby shows up and shoots him. When Darby attempts to kill Ash again, the officer shoots her. The officer orders her to stop. Ash shoots the police after picking up her pistol when it falls. She takes a screwdriver out of her pocket and stabs Ash in the neck, killing him as he is about to murder Darby. She uses his radio to get assistance as she crawls to the officer's corpse in spite of her wounds. Darby is back at the recovery facility a few months later. After ignoring Darby for a while, her sister Devin pays her a visit one day and offers to take her back home.